Hello, welcome back to Football United TV. Hope you're doing well. It's been a classic weekend of sunshine. I'm joined today by, regular channel guest now, Football Man Sam. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, Matt. Not too bad. Thank you for having me on again. A pleasure as always,
Mate, it's so good to have you on. I feel like you're a channel regular now, and hopefully we can come onto your show too and talk a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, like you say, you've got plans in the behind the scenes,
We've got things going on, but we don't want to give that out right now. We don't want to be like Tottenham Hotspur with the Amazon documentary. We don't.
I love that little dig there.
But we're here basically, right, Sam, to talk about transfer news, gossip, and speculation. What's coming out from your side of things, mate? What are you reading up? What's the gossip?
I've been doing some research, and I think it's quite an obvious one with the Chelsea side. Everyone knows about them buying, attacking players, but at the same time, everyone knows that they really do struggle at the back with their goalkeeping position. They've interchanged between Kepa and Willy Caballero towards the end of the season. So I think their goalkeeping side could be doing some work. I hear Chelsea are in strong talks with Nick Pope from Burnley. He's 28, but I believe he's got quite a few number of years, especially in the Premier League. He's kept 15 clean sheets this season just gone, and I think in my opinion he should be England's number one. I think that'd be a brilliant signing for Chelsea. I don't know how you feel on that, Matt.
Nick Pope, he's at the top pretty much with most clean sheets in the Premier League season. So why wouldn't anybody look at him? Not even just Premier League clubs. I'm talking about Europe in general. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's worthy of it, and he probably would come on a cheap. You know what I mean? Do you think it'll be cheap though for Nick Pope?
I don't think it's going to be cheap. I don't think it's going to be expensive. If you take Burnley, not the biggest of clubs. So if Chelsea come in, I think you're looking at around 40 million would be a fair price, I think, for Nick Pope. And would Burnley turn that down for a player? I don't see it happening. I don't see them turning that kind of money down. So I do see that being quite a big possibility for Chelsea. So that one was going to have to play its books out. That one is.
So, yeah, Chelsea are not happy with Kepa, obviously. Didn't really work out for them. Unfortunate. And obviously news about De Gea as well, that he might possibly be shipped out. And they're looking like they want to get Oblak at Man United as well from Atletico Madrid. Is it worth it? I mean, you've got Henderson.
Yeah, no. The problem United got, Matt, is especially with this pandemic and at De Gea, who is going to go out and spend? You got to get 80, 90 million for De Gea, and is anyone going to pay that? Especially with the pandemic and on how many mistakes he's made this season, probably not. So then, if you drop De Gea without selling him, you drop this price tag by at least half, which is 40, 50 million. So, do United spend big money on a goalkeeper but then leave De Gea out, or just leave Henderson? I don't know, and I don't think Henderson will stay at United if he's not guaranteed for a team. I think he is capable of going on to bigger things if he's not going to get regular time at Manchester United.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see Dean come back in and maybe they can all fight for the first team place again. I think De Gea needs competition, especially after the few blunders that he made in the last couple of weeks. He is a top-notch keeper. I spoke to an official pundit and he does not like De Gea at all. He hates him. This is a passionate Man United fan, and so am I as well, but I disagree with what he says. I just think that he is a great player, but what's happened to him, and the blunders that he's made, I'm really not sure. It just feels like, the guy that's won the player of the season for the last two years or whatever he's got to be a very good goalkeeper to do that at Man United, and that shows how bad Man United have been in recent years as a club, that your goalkeeper wins player of the season.
No, absolutely.
What do you make of that, though?
I'm going to have to agree with official pundit. I think De Gea's career is possibly on the decline. A lot of people forget that it's not just been the last few weeks he's made mistakes. He's kind of done it throughout the season. There's been multiple times he's made 4 or 5 mistakes. You just got to think of the Tottenham game, for example. There's the FA Cup final, semi-final. He's costing United points effectively and positions in the finals, which you can't afford to do if you're a top goalkeeper. Yeah. So I kind of think De Gea is on the decline, unfortunately. I might be proven wrong, but only time will tell, really. But it's opinions, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Well, yeah, but like with De Gea, I look at him and I see what he's done in the past, and I can see that he's still not old, is he? Like he's still a young goalkeeper in retrospect, and he's still got a very good career ahead of him. You look at Van der Sar coming into Man United at a very old age, and look what he did and what he won. So there isn't an ending to his capabilities for anyone. If Man U do look at getting rid of him, what else, though, Sam, in football transfer news and gossip and all that jazz? What have you heard anyway, mate?
Well, there's the talk. There was the initial talk of Raul Jimenez, the Wolves striker, going to United. But I believe Wolves have priced United out of that deal, especially with United going in for Sancho. They ain't going to pay the money that Wolves are acquiring. So with that being said, if I'm understanding correct, Juventus are actually going in for Jimenez. I've read quite a few numbers. I'm quite close with some Wolves fans as well. So I kind of get some more inside thoughts from them. And there is really some room because Wolves have already agreed a deal to sign Paulinho from Braga. So that they're already looking at replacing Jimenez. So either way, he will be. I believe Jimenez will move on. Where to? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Man United looked like they wanted to go for him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's a big fan, apparently. But like he's a big fan of Joshua King, I guess, because he's from Norway. And that's hopefully not going to happen either in my eyes. I don't want to see Joshua King come into no offence, but I think that's a down step. But we were also going to talk about Jadon Sancho. Like the big news coming out is that he could be signed by the 7th of August because they want to get it in by the 10th because Dortmund return to training that day, and it would be best to do it before then. Dortmund are trying to hold out for around about 120 million, but it looks like they're coming to some sort of agreement in the middle of that. So it could be like 80 to 90 million. What do you make, man? What have you heard about this transfer?
Yeah, what you said there. They're trying to hold out for 120 million euros. I don't believe that United will pay that. I think it'll be towards the 100 to 110 mark for Sancho. But what will be interesting is whether he will sign before the Champions Europa League. I think Dortmund are in Champions League. So it's going to be interesting to see whether that deal gets done before or after, because that could have a key part on the price. If United go ahead and then pretty much agree everything, but he signs after the European football, then, and if he picks up an injury, they've kind of just lumped 100 million on an injured player. So there is factors to be taken in, and I think that's why it's taken a long time. Do I think United will sign him? Absolutely. It's just going to be a question of when.
Yeah, it's not a when. It's more when and not what the price is. I think Man United are probably the only club that are going to pay over the range. I don't see Liverpool going in going, well, we'll put down 125 million, or if it's less than that, I don't even think they'll put 95 million in. I don't think Liverpool need to do that, though, either. Is there any news coming out, though, Sam, from Liverpool on the transfer?
Well, there's been quite quiet recently. Obviously, the big one was the Thiago from Bayern Munich transfer saga, but that kind of fizzled out, and that kind of a lot of people's been saying it's not happening. I follow a really strong connection with Liverpool on Twitter called James Pierce. I'm not too sure whether you're familiar with him, and he's not too sure on the deal getting done, and. It's just been really quiet on the Liverpool side. There's talks of Ben White, but it's just little petty talks. So nothing's still concrete in the transfer side from Liverpool. It's been quite quiet from them.
Obviously, you got Lallana. He's left now. He looks like he's going to go to Brighton. Is that correct?
He's signed for Brighton. Yeah.
He sees that as a sort of perfect fit for him. He sees Brighton as a club that wants to develop and keep up and like sort of bring in a player like Lallana and sort of give him the best of the rest of his career. Anyways, what I'm thinking, give him a chance. You know what I mean? Like you look at yes, Glenn Murray, right? Glenn Murray. The fact that they will keep players like that, they'll give them the chances right up until the end. You know, 34-year-old going into the Premier League and then doing not too bad in the first season for Brighton in the Premier League. So
Oh, absolutely. I think Lallana going to Brighton I think it's a perfect fit on both sides. I think Lallana will suit Brighton. I think Brighton will have got themselves a good player, and especially in their midfield where they do lack creativity. And I've always said I believe Lallana is one of the most naturally gifted, talented players on the ball. He makes everything just look so smooth. So I think it's a really strong move from Lallana. I think it's sensible as well.
I think it is too, yeah, and you know he'd been at the club for a little while. You know what I mean? He'd been through that era of Liverpool trying to get where they wanted to be, and then actually being there as well, which is a great accomplishment to lift the Premier League, lift all the other trophies. This is so hard to say because I'm a Man United fan. I'm just talking about you lifted trophies, and I just get a little bit blurry. I do. So transfer news. Other than that, though, mate, what else is going on in the media? What's happening?
Yeah. So I've heard, obviously everyone's talking about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Will he sign a new contract at Arsenal, or will he go? My understanding is that he's going to sign a new 3-year contract extension with Arsenal. I think in Arteta as the manager, I think they reflect and bounce off each other. So I do see it being perfect fit, and especially Arteta saying that he wants to kind of rebuild the squad around him. I think it would just make sense with him being. I think he's not 31 now, so I think it's sensible for him just to stay.
Yeah, you know what? I think so too. I can't really say much about that because obviously I haven't looked too much into it. But I think I'd agree with you on a perspective. And just, do you know what? Talking about the FA Cup as well yesterday, just scrapping away the transfers for a minute. What did you make of that game, Sam?
I thought it was an interesting game. You were to ask me based on the first 15 minutes, I thought it was only going to be Chelsea. Pulisic in particular looked really impressive. He obviously took his goal, really smart, and he had a few other chances after that. And I thought he was just going to run the show along with other Chelsea players. But after the 15-minute mark, it was like someone flicked the light switch. It just switched. Chelsea was getting everyone in midfield. They were playing too much of a high line, getting caught in behind, which eventually led to the penalty. I just think Lampard got his tactics completely wrong on the day. And everyone goes on about Anthony Taylor with the decisions. Yeah, he probably got the red card wrong. But the handball, if you're going off by what BBC was showing, then it shows him handling it inside the area. But there's other pictures going around on social media saying that he didn't. So, but you can't blame that for Arsenal's win. I think Arsenal thoroughly deserved the victory in the end.
They did. It was. I was speaking to the kid EG yesterday. It was sort of a revenge dish, best served cold. Especially after, like you say, Europa League final last year. I just think that Arsenal pretty much had everything to go for to get the Europa League spot as well, and make Tottenham look like they had a worse season. Because before that, you probably would have said Tottenham had the better season, but because Arsenal won the FA Cup, what would you say, between the two clubs?
Well, you'd have to say Spurs because they don't have the Europa League football, really. But even with Arsenal having the worst spell in 15 years, they've still won a trophy, and the Spurs haven't. So it's one of those.
It is one of those. It's up and down, mate, isn't it?
Well, absolutely.
That's pretty much it, isn't it, for football transfers, really?
Yeah, we're waiting for stuff to happen.
Just all stuff. This is all speculation as well, by the way, everybody. We're not trying to sit here and we're not getting connections from football players. We're not getting the calls from agents saying, look, you got to say it on Football United TV or Sam show. It's not like that, okay? So we're just pretty much regurgitating what the media is saying, and then you can sort of come up with your own evaluation of what you think is going on in the transfer sagas this summer, because it's a little bit different from usual. Clubs are a bit ruined from the coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah.
Not having a crowd at the stadiums. It just, the input and the money that comes into the the clubs is not there. So some clubs can't spend so much, some clubs can, like Man United, like Man City,
Yeah, absolutely.
from the Far East, but they'll never be out of money them.
Of course they won't.
Football Man Sam, please do yet again push out all your social media.
No worries.
Find you.
Mine's quite easy. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Football Man Sam, all on the same platform.
Excellent. And you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, Football United TV, every single one. Thanks everybody for subscribing to, and go check out Football Man Sam. Subscribe to it. Why not? Help everybody out. This is a community thing, and we're glad to have you on the channel, mate, every single time. Thank you very much, man.
No, thank you, Matt. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Much love, man. And everybody, thank you very much too, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Sunday, Saturday. I don't know where you are in the world. It could be Monday right now, and wherever you're watching from. But whatever day it is, whatever sunrise or sunset you're seeing right now, enjoy it. And we'll be back very soon. Bye bye.
Cheers, mate.